Those were headlines. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, in its fifth edition, Africa Games Week has been fine-tuned to deliver an even more exceptional event than ever before. And it continues to showcase the best of African gaming talent and gives them every opportunity to meet with and learn from the best in the business from around the world. Rex Bowden, the co-founder and CEO of Africa Games Week, joins us now this morning to share a bit more on what can be expected. Rex, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Rex, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Can you just share a bit more on the Africa Gaming Week this year and what can be expected?
Awesome. Yes, sure. So Africa Games Week this is the fifth edition of the event, happening at Workshop 70 at the BNA in Cape Town. It is the largest gathering of African games industry professionals in the world. So it brings people from across the continent to come and meet and learn and discover new games and opportunities. And we bring out a whole of internationals from Europe, America, Asia, etc., to come and discover these developers and the industry.
Yeah. And 5 years in, how has the festival grown?
Wow, it's grown in leaps and bounds. We launched the event in 2018 off the back of taking delegates to international shows around the world, South African developers. We basically turned it around to bring those international publishers to South Africa to rather discover many more people than the few that we're taking out. And the interest in Africa has just exploded. When we first did it, it was hard to get people out here to understand that there is an ecosystem in Africa and there's this massive developing community in the games industry. And now, people are understanding it. They want to invest in it. They are developing schools out here. There's so much going on in the industry. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no doubt. And how is the whole week structured then? What do you have planned each day?
Great. So yes, being an Africa Games Week, it's on a similar model to what Melbourne Games Week does, and Paris Games Week, and Berlin, etc. The idea is that multiple things happen during the week. We have a conference that runs from the 1st to the 3rd of December, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And during that time, there's an expo that's open to the public as well. Every day, it's free to enter. You can come and have a look and play all the games and meet all the people in that expo space. But over the 1st to the 3rd, we have high-level conferences as well, so looking at the various verticals. So this year, we have 4 verticals. Mobile, which is the biggest, obviously, in Africa. Mobile gaming is huge in Africa, with accessibility. Serious games, so an event from America called Games for Change in New York is coming and doing their Africa League. So that's all about serious games. Then we have Make Games Africa, which is about the business of game development. And then we brought in Africa StreamCon, which is the business of content creation and streaming.
And I do understand that the Africa Games Week is made up of 4 significant sub-conferences across 4 industry verticals. Just briefly take us through each.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go a bit more into that. And just to mention as well, being over a week, we have things on both sides of it. So things happening on the 29th when people arrive. And then on the 30th, we really entertain our international delegates. We put them on open-top buses and show them what's happening in Cape Town, take them to studios and really get them involved in the ecosystem. And then we have functions every evening. But just to go deeper in, so Mobile Growth Association of America runs their event on the first day. It's all to do with anything to do with mobile gaming, mobile app development, etc. So all around that space. That's a full day conference with workshops in the afternoon going deeper into that space. Serious gaming on the second day, so as I mentioned, Games for Change New York come and do their Africa League. They just launched their chapter of the association in Africa last year. So they go deep into serious gaming. Serious gaming is, if you use a game or there's gamification in a bank app or a retailer uses it to market to people or, the multiple things, charities use them. Africa does something very different to the rest of the world. When the serious games community come here, their eyes open and they get a shock at what we're creating in Africa because we're doing serious games for so many different things in Africa.
Right.
And then Main Games Africa is our vertical for all about business of game development. So anything to do with console, PC, mobile, etc. Anything that's about publishing games, marketing your games, the psychology behind games, all that kind of stuff, and the monetization as well. How to get the most out of your game, and how to make sure that the international community is using that. And then finally, as mentioned, the fourth is Africa StreamCon. It's our second edition of this. We realize there's a whole lot of users that are talking about games and playing games and speaking to all the community. So, however, content creation is the fastest growing small medium enterprises in the world at the moment, industry in the world. It's outstripping everyone. Obviously, you just need a PC and be able to talk and go live, but the opportunity is huge in that space. But there was no conference in South Africa that talks about the issues within it, the business needed, the legalities. A lot of the streamers are anything between sort of 10 years old to sort of 25, have not worked in industry before. So it's making sure that they're professional, they're protecting themselves, they've got contracts behind them. So we talk about all of that. And then also, the psychology behind that, streaming all day and being affected by what people say and stuff. So having a good support system. And our events, those verticals all kind of play off each other, so people get involved in each of them because there's a huge community building that we do at our events. So it's very focused on that.
I'm quite interested in what you said earlier on about the monetization of gaming. So it's very interesting that we talk about this because we need to know how gamers can actually make money through gaming.
So yes, obviously that's a huge development. We've worked our way into esports this year as well, so there's huge opportunity for people playing games. We see that as well as a massive development into the industry as well. The guys that are interested and are playing games and are communicating and connecting through it are the people that will join the industry. There was a study done recently that people who have consoles or access to computers in their household as kids are the number one group of people that will go into technology and game development in the future. So even though you might not be making money on games now, that access to that and ability to use and get your way around a game will lead you into some money-making industry in the future or a job. However, within content creation, there's a huge opportunity now. Internationally, it's massive. South Africa is on the catch-up and Africa as well. But the interest in Africa is just exploding. So people around the world are looking into Africa and seeing cultural differences and opportunity, and it's very exciting for people. So there's a lot of opportunity in that. There's an opportunity to get sponsorship. There's a lot of big companies now that are realizing that they've got these voices and they're talking to very, very dedicated audiences. So they are starting to look at paying people to promote their products through content creation as well. So a lot of the technology companies do it. So your companies like MSI and Incredible Connection use them, and people like that as well. Amazing stuff. But we also see an opportunity that isn't being used. There's so many amazing products that come out of South Africa, and we're starting to push into that way that, you've got this amazing dedicated audience. It might be 5,000 people, but it's 5,000 people that if you drink a Red Bull, everyone's going to say, I want to go out and drink a Red Bull. It's very different.
All right, Rex, thank you so much for joining us. But I'm quite interested to know, though, what is it that these tech companies who may want to sponsor gamers are looking for them to be able to, form a partnership with gamers? What is it that they're looking for?
So they're looking for someone that's very engaging, someone that's very open as well. You've got to protect yourself. You have to make sure that you aren't upsetting anyone when you're going live, because everything nowadays is recorded, just as this. If I said something rude here, it would be on here for the rest of my life, and I have to cover my tracks. It's about being extremely professional. It's about communicating very well, so everybody knows if you get an email, you got to respond to it, but that kind of stuff is key, and that's what people expect from you. Professionality is key, but also creating content that is quite different, and interesting and engaging. So as much as playing a video game and talking about it is, we see it a lot, and I watch my kids watching that kind of stuff and engaging in it. It's the stuff that they end up watching is where guys are quite engaging and consistent as well. They're putting out content consistently over the week and building that following. So guys that are looking to sponsor, like big tech companies, are really looking at people that are consistent and professional in what they're doing.
I know that there are those golden oldies who still feel young at heart. Are there any games for them?
100%. We actually have to keep an eye on the games that we showcase at our event, because they cater to plus 18 audiences as well, and we sort of monitor that as well so that we don't offend anyone. But there's all kinds of games, shooting games, also a lot of arty games as well. We get incredibly awesome art games coming through South Africa and in Africa. And very interesting games as well. So quite cultural focused games. So games where they're African warriors, and at some games that you play that you're in a minibus, driving around Lagos, and so interesting stuff like that. That's really captivating. Also to note, one of the biggest growing markets in gaming is women between the age of like 18 and 35.
Yes.
Playing games, and people don't realize that. So the mature audience is definitely a key part of growing the industry.
All right, Rex, lovely chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. We just spoke to Rex Bowden, the co-founder of Africa Games Week, about the event kicking off next week in Cape Town.